Nah, I love the intro.
I do too.
I love the ending on that little.
I
Yeah.
like it. Good evening, everyone.
Hi.
And welcome to Left Past 10.
Yeah. You know what I do?
Good intro.
I go back and watch our show on 2x speed. And
It's
it
gotta
is
sound
so fun. I love it because it's like, no, you know what I think? I'll tell you what I think. Blah, blah, blah. So it's so much better when there's like more than a couple of people. When there's 3 or 4 people on screen, it makes the 2 times speed so much better. I don't
Funnier.
know why.
Do we sound like the chipmunks?
Better than
Yeah.
that. So Donald James X says, Matt will pay the bill. Now, I don't know why you assume I'm Mr. Moneybags. I would pay the bill because it's a tax write-off for me. So I'm always paying the bill. But like, what's happening there at the end? Are we running out on the bill, Jake?
All right. I have some deep lore for this because when you edit 60 seconds, it takes 60 minutes, so there's time to think about nonsense. First of all, if you're going by color code, we all got the wrong drink, so we haven't actually consumed anything we don't pay for, but we do scram on the bill. And I think if I'm gonna re-edit that, I want to do like fan funded, and then have a little
Nice
gag there.
Nice.
That's cool. So, looks like we're missing someone.
Yeah, Andrea couldn't make it tonight.
I know, which is a big bummer.
Yeah.
But we love you, Andrea, wherever you are.
This is like my chance to hang out with Andrea.
Yeah. But she's got this running on her channel, though, and that's a pretty cool thing.
Yeah. I want to invite her on my show all the time.
Oh, she's so much fun, and she's deep.
The entire time since I found out she couldn't make it, I've been desperately trying to think of a way we could screw with her. I got nothing.
You got nothing?
I got nothing. Audience, if you think of a way we could screw with her, somehow find a way to let us know in a way that she won't immediately discover.
She would do it to you.
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
But she's significant. Let's just lay our cards on the table here. She's significantly more clever than I.
Yeah. And she could be playing with us. She might even show up. Who knows?
Yeah. That would be.
She might be in the room with us now. There's no way to tell.
Totally
well,
acceptable.
I can't. Yeah. So what's up, guys?
Enjoy the scabies.
Yeah. Oh, God. You want to tell that story?
Sure. A small dog got scabies and then transferred it to me. So now I have a special shampoo.
Is this the first infection or disease that you've acquired from an animal?
No.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
It's happened before?
Not this specific one, but multiple
shit.
times in the past.
Squirrels?
Wow.
No. I don't hang out with that many squirrels.
Well,
How about you guys?
Oh, my God.
Sandy, you must have.
Well, I have cats, but I wear a mask and gloves when I clean the litter box. So I really, I don't know. I've never been tested for toxoplasmosis or whatever, and I know it does
Good
things, but
memory. Yes, that's it.
I probably should be because I always have something wrong. But I don't think I've gotten anything. Yeah. I don't think I have anything from the cats.
Just casually.
I don't
I'm
know.
usually right on the brink of perishing, so yeah.
It is. It's terrible. Remember, I couldn't be on the show because of my back. It's been messed up
yeah.
since then.
All right.
Yeah. How about you, man?
Well, we had squirrels that would open the front door and come on in. I have a video on my phone of my doorknob on the front door, like going chick, chick, chick. And so if the door were partially open, because my dogs don't run away, they would just push the door open and come in, and my work computer was right there, and I'd just look over and there'd be like a squirrel standing there. And and so we, would put out like bird seed, and of course that ended up just being squirrel feed. And then one day I noticed a squirrel came over and all the other squirrels took off. And I was like, what the heck is this? And I was just sitting on the steps like smoking a joint or something. And I was like, why did all those squirrels run away? Now I noticed this squirrel was messed up and had mange. And that's just like mites. So it scratched like crazy until it would lose the hair and then like really like turn its skin raw. And so we had this in Colorado. We had like a animal rescue. Like one time we found a baby, like an infant squirrel in the yard. We took it there and they rehabilitated it and sent us updates in email and let it loose. Finally returned it to the wild and it was fine and happy. But so this one squirrel was messed up and I asked what we could do. And there was a certain medication. They said, okay, 2 options. 1, capture it, bring it in here. Of course, if you capture it, you're going to get mange. Your pets will get mange. Not good. The other one is to medicate it, but the medication we're going to recommend, which I can't remember what it was, which is good because I'm not giving advice here. They said if an animal without mange who's not sick ingest it, they'll get sick. So what you have to do is make sure that only this squirrel gets it. So what we would do is we'd wait for the squirrel to come around. And it wasn't very quick and didn't run away from us. None of them did. So we would make a little mound of food off to the side, put the medicine in it, and sit there and wait for it to go over there and eat it. And then we would go out and clean that up. And I did this.
You're a good man.
But just one feeding would be like 45 minutes of sitting there making sure nobody else ate this and that it actually did ingest this medicine. And I did that maybe 5 times over a couple of weeks and it totally got better. We watched its progress. Other squirrels stopped running away. They're smart enough to know they shouldn't be around it, but they stopped running when it would come around. Yeah. And it ended up hanging. I forget the name. We had like a messed up name for it. It was something like Patchy or something. I forget what it was. It was messed up though because the squirrel was so messed up. But so then our yard became like a sanctuary for messed up animals.
Aww.
And like, during the pandemic, I was home a lot and hanging out in the yard a lot. And there was no going out or hanging with neighbors or anything. And I would see all kinds of messed up squirrels, not from mange, but had been like probably injured somehow, just hanging out in the yard. And I was like, you're okay, little guy. And I would give him food and everything. So yeah, we had we had turkeys that would come into the yard.
Yeah.
It would fly up on, turkeys can fly short distances.
Now, was this here where you live now, or was this back in Colorado?
It was Colorado. Yeah. Now we have armadillo, deer. There's probably a couple of dozen deer outside right now.
Oh, yeah. But armadillo, that's wild.
Yeah, I'll see like 20 armadillo in the yard sometimes.
Oh.
Frogs, turtles. We have birds that scream at all other animals. They run around on the ground screaming. I think they're called screechers.
Really? Yeah?
That sounds like a 90s sci-fi movie.
I know. And I was like, what the fuck? Why is it? I saw this bird chasing a turtle across the lawn. And I was like, what the hell is this? And I looked it up. And it's just what they do.
Just bully turtles? They do.
Yeah, we got turkeys that walk through but in the summer I don't see the squirrels like I used to, but I see chipmunks. We have chippies everywhere. Chip, 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 chip. And they run all over the place. But I don't know where all the squirrels are. Honestly, it's kind of disconcerting not to see squirrels. I don't know what the problem is, but what do you think, guys? Why am I not seeing squirrels?
I think because I took them all.
You took
There's
them
so
all.
many squirrels around me.
Well, is there a predator?
It could be. I mean, we have foxes, coyotes, and all that. We do have
And a house
predators.
full of cats.
Yeah,
Also,
but they
that
don't
could
go
be it.
outside. They don't go
Uh,
outside. Mm-mm. Nope.
They're
No, but then
sophisticated
across the
felines. Fair
street,
enough.
there's horses and goats and chickens and what have you. So maybe that has something to do with squirrels not being around, or I don't know. Hello, Donald James. What's he saying?
He said,
It
take
would
my
be
phone out and show the deer in the yard. I could do
Oh,
that because,
you have a camera?
well, no, I have talked about investing in a critter cam, but in the backyard, if I just turn the lights on, they don't run away.
They don't.
No, so I could just show them from the back door. Then I'll be sitting outside in a lawn chair reading comics in the summer. They just walk by.
Hmm.
They're
Walk
very,
on
very chill.
by.
They're
Oh,
just like, hey man,
It's a great
you know,
song.
They
but
just walk on by.
they know I'm not a threat. That's why.
Everybody's talking about wildlife now in the chats. Kim asked me, she goes, because they're hibernating now. I'm like, Kim, I'm talking about the summer. I know they're hibernating.
Check
She's
this
funny.
out.
I'm glad she's here. Hi, Kim.
Proof.
Oh, look at that.
Oh,
They would
what a
come
fine
in
fellow.
and just hang out.
That's so weird
That's
that they would
Patty.
open the door.
That's Patricia. She was definitely like a mom. Oops.
That's Patricia. Oh,
Yeah.
how cute. How sweet. How
Anyway.
sweet.
I miss those squirrels. They were so cool.
Well, as long as they don't do any damage to your roof, which seems to be
Not my
what
roof
it
anymore.
happens to. Right. Okay.
We had
That's
bats.
all right.
We had tons of bats. I had to have them removed, which is totally
Yowzers.
humane. That's not bad.
Well, they move them to other habitats.
They actually just make it so they can leave the attic and not come back.
Right.
But
Oh,
we're surrounded
that's
by,
lovely.
yeah, it's like a funnel. So they find where they were going in. They put a funnel in there. The bats can get out, but they have to land to get back in. And the funnel is too narrow and they can't do that. So
Ah.
they're all like living in the woods now, which is normal because we blocked up those holes in the attic.
Yeah.
There's a time of year, at least in South Carolina, where you're not allowed to touch them because it's mating season. And like
they can't
they'll
even
leave
do
the
a
attic and their babies are still up there.
Oh,
And it's
shit.
not, that's totally inhumane.
Mm.
Wow.
Anyway, I'm a friend to all animals. Insects, that's different.
Well, it depends on what kind of insect.
We talked
Ticks are
about this
gross.
before, but
Yeah.
I don't do
Ticks are gross.
bugs.
Ticks are gross. I just I had this memory show up in
Flies.
my pictures. This buddy came 3 years ago on my deck. One of my cats showed up, and I picked off this most disgusting tick I had ever seen. It was huge, and its legs were going like this, and it was all full of blood. I videoed it. It just showed up the other day. I was going to use it in some kind of something I made, but
There is a tick. If
Disgusting.
it bites you, you will no longer be able to eat red meat. And maybe other meat,
Is-
but like
what is that?
That's wild.
it's
I-
awesome is what it is. It's like
Wow.
you will be forced vegetarian if you get bit by this thing. And
No
so
kidding.
if you
Could
think
have been
about,
bit by it, and I'd have
you
no idea.
well, just think about like all the hunters out there.
The irony. Yeah.
It's so ironic. Yeah, I love it. I love it. I say get them.
Get him, get him, get him. All right, so what's everybody been up to all week?
Well, I mean, I don't want to go first. Somebody else go first.
Why not?
Jake, go first.
Go
Go
clockwise. You go first.
And
All right,
not
fine. I
not
will go first.
necessarily on our channels, but what have you been up to? What have you been doing?
The trying to figure out what was wrong with the dog, and then getting
Okay.
them medication, and watching them very closely.
You're a
That's
good man.
we had for those that weren't. Yeah. I didn't tell this to the audience. dog lost a lot of weight. They were having a miserable time, and they were dangerously underweight on top of everything else because they were just going through hell. So literally feeding this dog from my hand for like days. But now we've rounded a corner and everything's fine. And I don't want to think about it anymore. So Sandy, what's up? What have you been up to?
Wireless Mike said that was it's a deer tick.
Mm-hmm.
And it was gross. I mean, I probably will use that video in something, but okay, what have I been up to besides the channel? Cleaning cat litter,
Sure.
bringing in firewood. I actually, this week was a bad week. I spent a little bit too much time on X, Twitter, which is not good. I don't know.
Sandy,
Did I? Yeah.
I'm pretty sure I've recommended not doing that.
I know, Matt. I know.
I
And
mean,
I'm
giving you
starting to feel
only
guilty.
I'm only giving winning strategies. Okay.
I'm starting to feel guilty because I'm on climate Twitter where all the doomers are. And I said I have to calm down a little bit because it's getting to me. Oh, obsolete optics. Okay, tell about my computer setup and my new hardware. All right. I this is what I did this week actually. I because of monetizing the channel, I was able to get UPS, they're called uninterrupted power supply batteries. 2 of them for my office for the studio here because after I lost power and that I think I told everybody last week, I lost 3 hours worth of editing work.
Yes.
Well, I ordered them. I had enough to cover them. I was thrilled because I would never have been able to do it. And I cleaned my whole office and reconfigured things and lights and did a lot of work. And now they are hooked up and perfect. And I want to thank Brett, Obsolete Optics, because we had a whole long chat in our Discord about what to do. And then I did a whole lot of research. So it's done. And thank you, everybody.
Well done.
Yeah,
Well
well
done.
done. Yep. I didn't even have to have
Great.
anybody come over. And that's a good thing. Yay.
I like that.
I am going to start. You know how I draw most of my interview guests.
Yeah.
The public figures, anyway, for the most part. I am going to start a different style.
Ooh.
And so I had, like right now, I'm doing everyone in that
Right.
Bruce Timm animated series style from like 90s, early 2000s. And I spent the last 3 days, like 8 hours a day, just messing around. Like, what should it be? How should I do it? I hate myself. I can't draw. I suck at this. This is horrible. I'm going to delete my YouTube channel and all this stuff, right?
Wow.
I
That's
was
serious.
like, maybe I can just interview people without drawing them. And I was like, that's my thing though. So I kept telling myself, dude, this always happens. You'll work it out. And I did. I worked it out. So I have a new style. I've invited 2 people on. I think I'm booked for February.
Wow.
And I invited 2 people on that are definitely going to be in this style. One of them, a third person, is going to be in a style that I had a drawing of them already. And I was like, I'm just going to use this drawing. It'll be random. That's fine. I can do that. But it's like these won't be part of a group image. Like that was year
Okay.
1. Year 2 is going to be all individual illustrations. So anyway, Dr. Jared Ball will be the last guest I have on January 31st, next Wednesday. He'll be the final one in this current style. And then after that, I'll embark on a new style.
Oh, that's pretty wild.
And I think in February, I'm going to have people on who some people know about, some people might not know about, but I think they should. And someone that, if it works out, is very popular. Oh, and guess what? I'm going to put this in the private chat right now just for you guys. Just, you can react, but don't say it out loud.
Okay.
Oh.
Okay. I'm excited. Dun, 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 dun. Oh, that's so cool.
Is that crazy?
I want to ask.
Really?
Yeah.
That's very nice.
It really
Very,
wasn't that
very
difficult
nice.
either.
That
I
would
haven't
be
I haven't used
cool.
it yet, but I got it.
Okay.
Kind of interesting, right?
Yes.
But it wasn't hard.
Yes.
In the
How is-
meantime,
Good.
in the meantime, here, I won't do this too much, but
Yeah,
in
you're
the
teasing
meantime,
everybody.
this is why I haven't
Everybody's
used it
getting
yet.
mad now.
There's
This is
so
why-
many things I want to say about it.
This is why I haven't used it yet.
Cenk Uygur. Yeah, he's coming on to scream.
So that's why I haven't used it yet, because I was like, ooh, what if this?
Oh, okay.
That worked.
Gotcha.
So anyway,
You
All right.
rascal.
we'll see. We'll see.
Yeah, that would be good.
None of these things are definite, but the lucky thing is that now I can say I've done 70 interviews. Here are the people I've interviewed.
Wow.
They've been on your show too, So
Great.
Here's
they
what I
should.
recommend.
What?
Do Letterhack's top 70, and I just ask you to put me at the very bottom.
That's
Coming in
funny.
at number
Very
69.
bottom.
Oh, why didn't
Wow.
I request that one? No, you know what? That would be so funny. Be like the top 69 of my 70 interviews, and then just don't include me in the list.
I have
shit.
invited some people who are not getting back to me. And
Yeah, but that happens.
yeah.
Yeah.
And
It
and
happens to me
people
all the
are
time.
always like, how come this person hasn't been on? And I almost feel like saying, let's start the pressure campaign. But then I don't
But
want
you
them to go to
can't.
their I don't want them to go to their Twitter DM and be like, oh my God, this guy has emailed me like 12 times over the last 6 months. Or like,
I
You
had
have a
somebody.
positive.
I had somebody that was just. He wrote a book called The End of Ice. You might have heard of him. His name is Dar Jamel. I started writing to him in 2017, and he was too busy. I'm a teeny channel. He was too busy. And he was too busy, and he was too busy. And finally, then he was embarking on something else. And then and I finally said, you know what? Screw it. Why should I waste my time chasing after someone who obviously couldn't give two shits about me? Although it would have been a good interview because the book was spectacular. And everybody in my audience knows who Dar Jamel is. So I stopped.
Yeah.
I stopped writing.
I
You
think that's the right attitude. And Matt, I think you do. I think you have a positive pressure campaign because you have such a high success rate that inevitably what you end up doing is interviewing people who know the people you want to interview. And I can tell you
Yeah.
from personal experience, it is an absolute delight to be interviewed by you.
Oh,
so,
thanks.
Yeah, it
so
is.
Word will get around to the people eventually, and if they miss their chance to be interviewed by the Letterhack, oh well, that's on them.
Yeah. And if you miss your chance to be with Sandy Schoelles, you're not smart. Nope.
I know.
I don't know.
But
if
I think my problem is, though, Jake, I don't follow up as much. I don't do it as much. I can't sit in this office to write these letters. That's my problem, is doing it. I probably could have a lot more guests if I really put much more effort into it. And it's not laziness. It's time,
Yeah, I know what you mean.
Yeah. But I've got some good
Uh,
ones coming up, and everybody's going to be happy on my, hopefully.
Oh, cool.
Here's a true story from the awkward field. I wrote Tom Hartman early on at the request of my audience to get on my program.
He'd be good.
He would be good. He'd be great. But
Mhm.
I do this thing where I'm like, well, don't type that. That would sound weird. I know what I'll do. I'll type something that sounds much more weird and immediately hit send.
Ah.
So hopefully, my hope is that Tom Hartman never opened my email. But probably what happened is I'm blocked.
I was coordinating with them for month and a half. Then
Tom
they dropped.
Hartman?
Yeah, then they dropped off.
Oh, Oh, that's too bad. He's such an historian.
right
what an
there.
excellent
I was-
historian.
Right
Mm,
He is.
there. So I will
That
follow
would've
up
been
again. But
yeah.
yeah, I just
You
I'm
have
just
the
gonna
in
give
now.
it some room.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
probably wise.
Well, I've got a few scientists, and I've got somebody coming on who is a permaculture expert, and we're going to be doing a new playlist within my channel called The Anthropocene Gardener. So this year, I'm going to start filming the seed process from seeds. I hope I have enough time to do it all and figure it out. Seeds to growing, to putting stuff in the garden, because I have a whole playlist called The Disabled Abled Gardener. And I decided to call it the Anthropocene Garden because that's the epoch we are in.
I like that. I
Yeah.
like that a lot.
But it's just a playlist. It's not a whole other channel because I don't want to start all that over again. I have another channel and I never did anything with it. Oh, look. Oh, gosh.
What a cutie.
That is really cute. Aw. Oh. Gosh, look at that. I like the turkeys when they come through. How beautiful that is.
Cool, huh?
You lived in beautiful places. You live in beautiful places and you lived in beautiful places.
I got to tell you, South Carolina is gorgeous. And it's where I am is so underdeveloped. I love it so much.
I hope it stays that way.
Yeah, I was gonna say
I mean,
it's the right amount of developed.
Right.
there's like nothing nearby. I have to drive for quite a while. I drive an hour and 15 minutes to get a haircut.
Oh, that far?
Yeah. I drive. It takes less time to get to the airport.
So how often do you actually like leave? Because I never do if I don't have to. Because it does take a long time to get anywhere.
Well, so you got to be strategic about it.
Well, you go play tennis.
Oh yeah, I mean, there's stuff to do. Like, there's a college. There's two colleges.
Mhm.
There's a college and a technical college in this town.
Okay.
So there's stuff to do. But if you want to go to like Whole Foods or Target or a sporting goods place or
Yeah.
a mall or to get your hair cut,
Mm-hmm.
you're driving
It's like
for
me
a while.
driving. Yeah, like me going to Buffalo
Yeah.
for the doctor's appointment once a month. Payne Industrial Management Complex.
But like we're strategic about it. So if my wife is like, I need to go to Whole Foods, I'm like, can we wait till next week? Because there's a comic book that'll be available at one of the comic shops in the same town.
Right.
Because we don't have any
Good.
comic shops here. So
But that's a really good use of, not using resources that you don't have to. You're not spending the gas. You're not burning the carbon to do it. You're waiting.
Yeah.
You're doing it all at once,
But
which is the way people should be doing things.
I love driving down those country roads, though. Oh my gosh, they're so amazing.
Beautiful.
And like you'll see, I mean, I could talk about this for hours. You'll see like hold on, I want to address Infinite's content. You'll see like a small trailer home on a giant, massive piece of land. And I'm just like, totally worth it. Because in Colorado, a trailer home would be right on top of several other trailer homes. But like out here, it's like, dude, that's living. If you ask me,
Yeah.
give me the land any day. So Infinite Content says, Matt, may I suggest going to black barbershops if they're closer? Now, there are several of those.
They don't necessarily cut white hair.
Do I
It's
pop
different.
in and go, do y'all do white folks hair? Or
Yeah,
how do I?
that's
hair?
literally what you do because it's
That's
a
as
different-
tactful or as like that's as much of like an intro as I can come up with in my own mind, or just go in and be like, and wait for them to be like, no, like maybe we can do it very quietly, but
I might be exaggerating based on my own experiences and just assuming that's the same everywhere. But there at least in Dearborn, there was a barbershop which generally did not. It could, I mean, the folks there could cut white folks' hair, but they generally didn't because like all the books had, irrelevant haircuts.
Yeah, I think I was just gonna, because believe me, I'd rather go to a barbershop like that than the ones
like
I'm
the
going
classic
to.
movie style, people telling jokes, old fashioned barbershop. Absolutely.
I used to go to a place like that in Colorado. It was fantastic. There were a couple of them. You don't really get that here, but there are barbershops where I've checked them out and I'm like, okay, there are zero, at least, on Yelp.
I just don't hardly ever get my hair cut.
I still want to put them in an
Yeah,
awkward situation. Do you know what I mean? Where they're like, oh,
Right.
I can't
Like,
discriminate.
I do this like once every 6 months. Don't make me blow off my tome of.
Yeah,
haircuts
I
that
would
had
go in
when
there
I
and
was
say,
whatever.
feel free to send me packing. It's fine.
Oh, I don't think that would happen.
I don't know. Maybe.
I don't know.
I just think it depends how busy they are.
I mean, I'm not
If they're
looking
not
for
busy.
any-
They're like, I'll take a whack at it. I haven't
not
done it
looking
in a while,
for-
but sure.
Yeah, I don't need anything fancy.
See, there's a huge like with the fellas, we have it much easier. Like we always have the option to be like, just take the buzzer and give me a 2
That
on the
scares-
sides, 4 on
that's
top.
scary.
We're donezo.
Oh, that's
Sandy, you've
scary.
got the long term hair. Like
Ugh.
if you don't go to the barber shop,
But it
or
gets-
salon or whatever, it's fine. You just deal with the split
I
ends that you were gonna
stopped.
get out.
Right.
Yeah.
I stopped going during COVID, and I stopped. I used to be blonde, and I stopped. And then my daughter sent me the different color shampoo, and I just shampoo. I don't even color my hair. I just use the shampoo that puts the
it's
gray
gorgeous.
or the purple. Or I make it myself. So,
Oh,
know.
I do think you have beautiful hair.
oh, thank you. And it's falling out, but whatever.
Eh.
But I thank my kid because that was nice of her
It was a good
to
call.
turn me on to that.
Uh,
Yeah.
Jake and I were telling Sandy, I think last week, the way I word it is, Sandy looks like someone from like very upper class, like royalty almost, trying to play it like street and casual. And like, no, we could tell that you're still upper class.
Well, I worked, you know what? I had to play the game at the school, and I learned how to do it, I guess.
That is cool.
University. Well, yeah, because I had a director title. So I couldn't just, walk in there hanging out and wearing my black leather shit and walking in and being biker Barbie. I had to be executive Barbie.
Executive Barbie.
Oh,
yeah.
I just thought executive Barbie. That's awesome. I just thought of something else I should have said when we were talking about what we got up to this week.
I have something over here.
I was on a podcast called Movies versus Capitalism
Saw that.
of
Nice.
put out by The Lever.
Mm-hmm.
And so I got the newsletter. First of all, Professor Harvey K emailed me
Right.
like first thing in the morning and said, your Movies versus Capitalism episode just dropped. And I was like, it did. That was like a great way to find out about it. And then I got the Lever email, and I get it every day. And it's like, here's what we're talking about today. And I'm scrolling through and I see my name, which was awesome, right? And then I was on their homepage today because I was looking at articles to read. And I see my name again. And that's when I tweeted out, I'm not a Supreme Court justice taking bribes. I'm not a member
Nope.
of the U.S. oligarchy. I haven't built an airplane that's falling apart. And I'm still on the Lever's homepage.
That's cool. Hey, did you see about the wheel falling off the Delta? And I'm thinking, and
Boeing, yeah.
it was Delta Airlines, and it was the front wheel. But it is. I'm not going to blame the guys that work on the planes. I'm blaming
No.
corporate greed because they're
Yes.
pocketing all the money and the CEOs and they're cutting salaries and they're slashing jobs. That's what's happening. And my
Yeah.
brother knows. We had a conversation because my brother used to be a private pilot and he sold his plane, but it's insane because it's not the frontline worker. It's not. It's the pressure. And they're greedy.
And I'm sick of
Greedy
the
corporate
billionaires using their underpaid employees as body armor. They're hiding behind civilians, so to speak.
We
and I
shouldn't
don't
be
like
flying anymore anyway. Flying's got to. I
True.
mean, have you ever seen the Flight Aware app? And it shows how many planes are in the air at once. Oh, I'm one of those. I even watched this channel on YouTube called Disaster Breakdown, and this chick, she is amazing in how she breaks down all of the plane crashes because she teaches you and you learn. I mean, I know all about all the parts on the airplane, but we shouldn't be flying like this. It's insane. It's using up, I mean, the resources. People have to stay put. Stop it. That's how I feel.
I just want to say, when I drive an hour to get my hair cut, they give you free bourbon.
They do.
That's
Holy
pretty cool.
shit.
Yeah, there's
That's
like a
pretty
lounge you sit in. I can watch tennis, have a bourbon.
Wow.
It's
Do
usually
they have
like
a hot tub too?
no, but like if your wife is there or your spouse, you can, because it's a men's only barbershop, they can sit in a massage chair. You can go back between visits for a free touch up. So it is worth it, but at the same time, it's an hour away.
How much do you spend for a haircut?
$50 plus like a $15 tip.
Wow. I'm cheap. I go to Fantastic Sam's. $15.
I tried that and I looked like an idiot. And I was like, I am not going.
well,
I went to
Because all
like,
I'm getting is just a trim down here. All they're taking off is the dead shit. You're getting a man's thing, you know.
Well, I think we all represent our different level. I just really my only investment is time, sneaking into Farmer Connolly's property for the shearing.
Hey,
just get in line.
Oh yeah, he's always checking the sheep. I'm hiding. It's a game of not cat and mouse
you're
so
a
much
sheep,
as
are ya?
farmer
Are
and-
you a
and
sheep?
shepherd and sheep.
Jake gets a haircut and a new
Oh,
winter
shit.
sweater. It's
Yeah.
a good trade-off. I didn't want to take the conversation away from planes though, because this is the thing. The airlines are getting away with a lot of garbage.
Mhm.
Remember when they were doing the during the initial lockdowns and they were like, "Hey airlines, we're going to bail you out, but there's going to be some rules." And they said,
Yeah.
"Rules? Well, then we'll just get the money from somewhere else." And
Mm-hmm.
it's like, you can get the money from somewhere else? Man, fuck you guys.
Yeah.
Right? What is this crap?
Yeah.
And then they were talking to Pete Buttigieg about, what are you going to do about all the airline fiasco and all the things that are going wrong? And I think his take was essentially like,
Nothing.
they'll work it out.
Yeah,
I
they'll work
trust
it
them.
out.
And it was like,
Let's
you
not
trust
care.
them? We didn't
I
pay
know.
you. We didn't hire you to be on their
Yeah.
side. You're on our side, asshole. And so
Secretary,
now
yeah,
they're falling
the-
apart.
Go ahead.
I mean, the planes are falling apart now. And so it's
Yeah,
like,
but the CEOs are making $23 million in bonuses.
this is my
You
point.
said it exactly. I
Shit.
cannot stand when someone who is supposed to be on our side in all matters sides with the enemy. And if they refuse to view these billionaire pigs as the enemy, I got no use for it.
Here,
Yeah,
this is what I think.
truthfully, like putting my insane rhetoric aside,
Neoliberal
it
economics.
is the man's job to regulate these industries, and the idea that he's like, oh well, we'll just let them
Yeah,
play in the
trains.
sandbox unregulated.
I
It's
want
maddening.
updates on what Buttigieg is doing daily, because I believe that fucker is sitting around doing nothing.
Nothing.
Not
And
a
the
damn.
next chance he gets to run for president, everyone's going to be like, he was a great labor secretary. What?
Oh, yeah,
he's
right?
not doing anything, because when you
Jack
call him
shit.
out, he's like, huh? What? oh, yeah, this will be fine. And then disappears.
I have
It's like,
been.
what is he doing?
I don't know about y'all, but I feel like
Certainly
I
not.
have been painted into a corner with Joe Biden where I'm not in a position where I can take out the wrath I feel for the man on him personally in any sort of electoral way. But so help me, anybody who's been a part of his administration will effing rue it. They will not have my support in any way, shape, or form. I'm trying to think of exceptions before I finish the sentence, but I can't. Like, Harris is not going to get a vote for me for president when she inevitably runs.
You
Not
think she's going to run?
Buttigieg.
You really think she's going to run? I
Yes.
don't.
Yeah.
I think
Well,
she is unwise enough to try.
I did
I
see
take
her
it back.
speak,
Granholm.
though.
I like Granholm.
She
I don't
did-
see,
oh,
but I don't even know who that is.
Granholm's the Secretary of not transportation. Isn't she doing all the electric cars? And she's in Detroit. That's why they named her. She's Secretary of Transportation?
She is
No. Is it
Department of
labor?
Energy.
That okay? I know.
Oh,
what you
she's
mean. Yeah.
energy.
Yeah, yeah,
and
yeah.
it's all about electric cars, which ain't
Yeah.
gonna save us. But that's
She could be president. I'm down.
Yeah. Well, I did see.
I don't know. I wouldn't
I
go
did
that.
see-
She's from my. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No, I was
look
just
at
going
our-
to say the
look
vice
at our
president
choices.
did a good speech for once. I saw her talk about they did their song and dance road show on pro-choice women's rights, and actually, what I heard from her, it was the best I've heard from her in, I think, the whole time. You
Is
know,
it
I was
a low
like,
bar? Is that a low bar?
I don't know. I'm just saying that
I mean,
women in
women's
America are
reproductive
saying
rights? Like,
it's a big bar. I'm sorry.
no, I know, but for her to
to do it,
like,
to talk about it,
obviously,
yeah.
that's the right take. You know, I don't know.
All
But
right.
you're
Yeah,
right.
it
You're
was-
right.
it
No,
was-
you got to give him a
It was
win.
the
Okay.
first
Give 'em a
time
win.
I actually said, "Oh, she sounded." It didn't sound. I don't know. Stupid.
She
Like
wasn't
I don't-
looking
nonsense?
for ways
She's not
to
like
please
nonsense.
monsters.
Yeah.
Well, she
Normally,
she
the
certainly
thing
is.
that pisses me off about the neo-libs is that they will, as though they're being forced out at the end of a pointy stick. They will come in front of the microphone, and they will grit their teeth and say something that hints to being vaguely on the side of progressives. But when they do that, they'll make sure that they use any language they can to really try to let the worst people you can imagine know that they would prefer to be their friend. And what was nice about this Harris speech was that there was none of that. It was straightforward. It wasn't exactly brave. It wasn't exactly a revelation. It was just a statement of facts, but a needed statement of facts, a statement of where we currently stand and who the Republicans currently are. And what I liked about it was that it tells me that the Biden administration, as much as I have a distaste for them, is going to take the potential of another Trump administration seriously. And they're going to address them as the threat that they are, which is good. They're going to hit them, in other words, mean and often, as they should.
I think next time Vice President Harris should come out in a bonnet and an outfit like Gilead, for
Yes.
fuck's sake.
Jesus.
Yeah.
Is this what you want?
Yeah.
What do
What
you-
you're going to get if you vote Trump.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I like that.
What
Well,
do you
I
think,
think
Democrats are doing beyond the 2024 presidential election and those 4 years?
What do I think they're doing?
I mean, do you think that they're like, that's down the road? Or I'm constantly
know.
trying to look for ways to convince myself that it's not as lame as
It's lame.
as it feels. But
God
it's
damn, they're
fucking
drilling.
lame.
They're going to open up Anwar to drilling in Alaska. I mean,
Yeah.
they're not. They're fucked up.
But,
Sorry,
okay,
I'm not
but,
going to
like,
start this.
But they're
Get
taking
mad.
a Trump election seriously. But what
Mhm.
about Republicans at all in general? Like ever?
Oh,
or
you
is
mean
it
will
just-
they ever wake up?
Yeah, I mean, is it just back and forth fundraising, or are they like, here's how we're going to get people to vote Democrat from now on. Here's how we're
Oh,
going to
no.
convince the people. Like, what do you think? They're not doing that, right?
They are conservative. If we're speaking frankly, the Democratic
Now.
Party is a conservative party. So
Mm-hmm.
they don't have plans. They don't have ambitions beyond 2024 except to get reelected in 2028. And they want to do so in the most conservative way they think they can get away with. They're in the US, they're in a very peculiar position of being a conservative party who represents the lefties, the liberals, the left wing.
Well,
So I think who Nikki Haley endorses is going to write it's going to foretell what the next 4 years will look like. If Nikki Haley endorses Trump, then it's going to be more of the same in terms of how Democrats and Republicans act. But if Haley endorses Biden, I say get ready for the end of the
How is
Republicans.
she going to do
Do
that?
you-
She's never going to do that with Coke money
I
behind
haven't
her.
heard anybody
You kidding?
say that since right now. Do you
Yeah.
think that sounds like a hot take, Jake? And I'm
How could
impressed.
she?
Do you think that could happen?
No.
Yes. I don't think
You
it's
do?
likely, but I think
With the
it could.
Koch
Okay,
brother money behind
Let me
her.
ask you. Let me ask you this way: is realistically, is it the safer bet for her to not endorse anybody?
Yeah, why does
Yes.
she have to?
That doesn't make it look like she's checked out, or
I not only do I think that's a safer bet, I think that's the probable thing. But if she had chutzpah, she would throw in with the Democrats.
Do you
a
think
lot
she's
of the
gonna-
people?
well,
who
she was
are-
a Democrat, right?
I don't know. She's your state. What was she? I never knew that.
I think
Nikki
if
Haley?
memory serves, she was a Democratic governor, and everyone was really happy when she moved up to the Trump administration for that reason. Although they didn't realize
I don't know.
that was
Look it up.
allowing a
Look it up,
like
Jake.
lieutenant governor who was Republican to take their spot. And I was like, see, that's bad.
I
actually.
don't know.
I can't remember. I didn't live here at the time. I can't remember.
I don't.
Okay,
I
so
don't
how
know.
how likely do you
don't see
guys think
anything.
it is that she would back Trump?
Well, if she's got Coke money,
Yeah, but she's talking a lot of shit about him right now.
Yeah, what? I
Because
don't
they don't
understand why
like him.
Getting Coke money would equate
Because
to anything.
it because they have so much political power. They are the fossil
Yeah,
fuel
but-
industry. They're big
But it's
corporate.
like, are they in bed with the Mercer family? Because that's who's backing or funding Trump and most
Let's just say it's an
Republicans.
infinitely right-wing donor with an infinite amount of money. After she drops out of the race, what does it matter? You know what I'm saying? Like
no,
after,
they'll go to Trump. They'll go to Trump. They're all a bunch of
there's nothing-
spineless wussies.
unless she's worried about her next, like them giving money on her next tilt at the windmill.
Maybe.
Here's where I think it gets interesting. A lot of people who are voting for Haley are coming out and getting polled, and they say, well, I voted for Haley, and if she doesn't make it, I'm going to vote for Biden. And that, if you're Nikki Haley and you're a Republican, so you don't care about right and wrong, you only care about personal gain, you look at that and you think, those are my constituents. Those are the people I appeal to. So in 2028, I'm going to want to run in the conditions where I can appeal to the largest group, the largest amount of those people. Where are those people gathered? I think you're going to find they're in the Democratic Party, and I think you're going to find that Nikki Haley is a good representative of the new Democrats or new Republicans who join that side.
I think she's always been a Republican. By the way, I had that wrong, but
I
that's
think you had it wrong.
I think that
okay.
makes sense, Jake. I really do. And
Okay.
I politically
I'm jaded.
now look,
You have to be
I am
more
too.
jaded. You
I'm
have to assume
jaded.
she stands for nothing.
I'm
That's the
jaded,
reality.
cynical. I hate them all.
Yeah.
But it would really get me to. I would start thinking again. If all of a sudden, like if Nikki Haley's like, "Hey, I'm not the nominee," I back Joe Biden. Then I would be like, okay, either he's Republican light Like, or he's a Republican, and all Republicans are just so far right that there's some just neoconservatives, I guess. But like, or this is what everyone has, because in a perfect world, these two parties aren't so opposed and they do work together and they do get stuff done on behalf of the people. So is it a political move for her, or is she doing it in a way that she thinks will actually benefit voters and the citizens?
It's never
right.
that.
It's just political. Yeah.
Yeah. And I don't think that is a perfect world.
No, but I mean,
think,
in a perfect world, politicians are really arguing over big government and small government, not taking away abortion rights and privatizing. So I don't, you know what I mean? Like in a perfect world, the government works
world, they have
for
an
the
ideology.
people.
Exactly.
But none of them work for the people. It's not a thing where it's an oligarchy.
Yeah, really the only ideology, the true ideologies we're dealing with right now, it's like if you ever played D&D, there's lawful and chaotic, and that's left to right, and then there's good to evil, and that's top to bottom. And I guess there's those forces. What we're dealing with now is on the surface, and it's surface level only. It's left versus right. But in reality, what we're dealing with is people who represent the old school, old money, neoliberal nonsense, and people who are sick of that.
And what I meant by perfect world was more of a perfect scenario for government. It's not, government doesn't make for a perfect world. But
no.
If the government had evolved with economic circumstances and individual economic circumstances and the need for more socioeconomic solutions and services and processes, if they had been opposed to how that gets done, but not opposed to it getting done, I could see that. That's more reasonable. It's like, okay, we do need two parties. Right now, the only reason we have two parties is to literally keep people divided.
Literally.
Think about how easy it would be for one party to just sway all their voters to the other, not all of them, but I think like, I don't know. I never really talk about this stuff in a well thought out manner, so I always kind of pull back. But you know what I'm saying. Politicians weren't such pricks about literally everything.
For spaghetti throwing.
If you all haven't, you should start learning about, even though a lot of people think, oh, it'll never work, the degrowth paradigm of and not growing anymore. Growth is going to stop. It has to stop because we are gross domestic product, growth of everything has to stop.
Yeah.
I mean, we have to live differently. We're going to be forced to live it anyway.
Yeah.
It's going to happen. So I did this piece last night and, some people say, oh, it's bullshit. It's hopium, whatever, but it is definitely changing. Things are going to change because collapses are happening now and they're going to happen even more. And the political party that recognizes this and addresses it, and it's not happening now. They're not. They're all talking about the green energy fantasy, which is not going to solve the problems that we are undertaking. Is it going to? No, it depends, though. It depends on. No, I don't want to stay on fossil fuels. I don't want us to stay on fossil fuels at all.
Good.
My point is we need to look at the resources that it's going to take to do what they're saying instead of growing and instead of keep on doing things the way we've always done them. They're going to have to change. So I'll turn you on to that. You listen. I'll send you the article that I read last night. I think if progressives were really going to understand the overshoot dilemma and the ecological issues that are happening on our planet, then we would take that and run with it and people won't like it, and they will be kicking and screaming.
Hey, this is the thing, though. This is what I was saying, Mike. I know that's oversimplification. That's like my thing. That's why I say I pull back.
Yeah.
Accurate comment. But look,
What
Sandy, you're right.
That, I think this is a great space for throwing out wild ideas and trying to figure out how we do feel about things.
Just saying, I had a right wing neighbor who was always going, well, Republicans and Democrats should work together. And what he meant was unilateral disarmament for Democrats to do what Republicans want. And I'm like, they already fucking do. Knock it off. That's dumb. What you should be saying is, in theory, there should be more compromise and more working together when it suits the people, not the military.
And
you see what I'm saying? They come together over that military budget. No problem. No qualms. What does that tell you?
Yeah. And they're
Right?
also coming together over bringing more updated weapons because we have to keep up. And
But when it comes to anything else,
yeah,
it doesn't get done because they can't see eye to eye and there's no compromise. It doesn't get done. And that's what I'm saying. It's like, could you fuckers for once
but the
something
idiot
that
on the
helps
right,
people?
the idiots on the right do nothing. This is the Congress that has passed the least amount of bills in decades.
I mean, they can't even get their own shit together.
Decades. All they care about is performance art on the right. There are people on the left that do give a shit. They get overshadowed by these people that are screaming about the most insignificant, stupid issues that mean nothing to people, that mean nothing for people's well-being. We're living in the Moronocene.
Like, can you imagine if the ratio went the other way and the majority of people in Congress were the good guys?
Yeah.
And the people screaming and yelling about dumb stuff and Hunter Biden were just a few people that were so insignificant. Everything would be so much different. Yeah.
The media covers them.
I've learned quite a bit from, I think we should all learn this lesson from MAGA over the last 5 years. Look at how much they forget good and evil for a moment. Evil, for the record. But forget good and evil. And just look at the things they want, or at least the things they say they want, and how much the Republican Party has bent towards that. I even mean the Nazis. They were fringe 7 years ago. Now, Nick Fuentes is dining with Trump. How did that happen? Because they don't have that much more resources than we do. But they found a way to change the party they are associated with. I promise you the Nazis aren't big fans of Republicans, but they do know that that's the closest to their ideology that exists, and they made them more akin to their ideology. I think we have to do the same thing with Democrats, Republicans, whoever, all elected officials. We should look at the pressure campaign that those citizens mounted on their elected representatives and do the same. They harass the heck out of their politicians. We should do the same. Not in the same way.
Oh, I have.
We have to remember that we're decent human beings and have morals. But how often do we write emails? How often do we make phone calls? We should follow their tactics, I think, in the coming years, regardless of who wins what, and change the people who are in power to our will. At the very least, make them uncomfortable when they are not doing what we want them to do.
How often does anybody go into the Federal Register and leave comments on things that are going to happen where you live? I do it.
Good point.
Where you live. That's where you have the comments, comment period of time.
Link me up.
The comment period of time in the Federal Register, everything that is going to be, at least I address a lot of the environmental damage things, the things that are going to screw up maybe my area. Like we had a pipeline, the Northern Access Pipeline, and we fought it and we won. Standing Rock didn't win, we won. And it was a hard fight. And I went to all the meetings. I mean, you've got to do this. You got to get out there and go to all the meetings, all of these things. And we went and we did it. Now it's harder for me to do it now. I do more on my YouTube channel, but I'm controversial any which way you look at it.
offer a gentle clarification of language, because I think you said something that I mostly agree with, and here's where I would change it. You said you've got to go to all these things. I think that is an unsustainable strategy for an individual. I think we should ensure there is movement representation for all of these things. I think
Okay.
the
What's that?
you of this, when you're saying, let's just call it leftist causes. I don't think you have to be at the Black Lives Matter rally and the trans rally.
I'm talking
trans
about
rights rally,
locally.
and the et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. But I think you should have a knowledge of what you're capable of doing. And when you have the ability, you should go to these things, and you should support these things as much as you can.
Sure. But if there's something going to come through your yard and there's an easement that they want to put a pipeline in, or if they want to put fracking brine on your roads and you live in a farming community, you damn well better pay attention, because it's going to affect your health. And that is what I'm talking about. Maybe not the big things in D.C. I'm talking, although I've been to a lot of those, I'm talking about the local things that affect people's lives on a daily basis.
And I think that's the strategy. I think it's you cover your zone +1. So you cover your town, your neck of the woods, and consider yourself obligated, like an Orthodox Jew, to do a mitzvah, let's say once a year.
Did you watch my video?
You must go to all of your things plus one of somebody else's that you believe to be morally correct. I
love how Sandy's always like, you should watch my video on that.
I have I looked at my channel. It said 1,000 videos today.
That's
1,000
awesome.
videos, and I mean,
Heck
and
yeah,
I used to
Sandy.
go to every Tom Reed town hall and live stream him when he was our congressman, the one that Tom Reed that had to resign because he's a pervert. They found out. Yeah. Whoopsie.
I'm at 404. I'm at 420. 420.
In a short time.
Oh,
That's taken me 7 years.
I'm at 420.
do we want to check what I'm at? No.
Yeah,
actually,
why not? What the hell? We're having fun tonight.
I
Talking
thought I
about
had
all
it
this
up
stuff.
already, but I actually don't.
I feel like I'm at 420 videos.
It could be
I
even more.
feel like we need to now make this somehow special for your
It is special.
420th stream. Whoopsie. Sorry.
This is
Clicked
it
on
too, I think.
I don't know.
Nice,
Somebody
dude.
go look at my channel. Tell me how many do we have on there. I started this, in January 2017.
I got
on this
over
channel.
100,000
But I was doing it on
views.
Facebook. Yeah,
I
that's nice.
I'm at 105,000 views right now. That's pretty good.
Nice.
Feels good.
Obsolete optics. YouTube doesn't like it when I suggest covering politicians' houses in manure.
Oh.
Wait a minute. Don't waste the manure. We need it for our compost.
What?
Yeah.
Is it on your channel dashboard?
I don't know. I'm
Is
not
that where you
looking.
see
Where?
how many videos you have?
Oh, just go to your homepage.
The homepage? Okay, I don't feel like doing it right now.
Like,
I
just
just
go
thought
to
I
your
saw
channel.
Oh, okay.
And that's not even counting all the
1,000
Facebook
videos?
videos before that. I don't even know how to get all of them. All the
good on you, man.
interviews and oh my God. That's cool.
No, I have 1,032 videos.
Wow.
Really? Wow.
It's
Wait a
those
minute
2 for
now.
Tuesdays.
Then I'm
It's
gonna
really-
Stacking 'em
they
up.
add up.
I'm gonna look. I'm gonna look while we're doing this. Go ahead. Keep the
Well-
conversation going,
All right,
boys.
fair enough. Fair enough. Yeah, I'm lately
1,000
I've been
videos.
just doing much less. Too many life things have gotten in the way, and I've had too much wrath, I feel, to be to offer genuinely productive takes / advice. But I do want to get back in the saddle, man.
Wow.
Yeah, we're missing you. But you do you. I always say
Yeah.
take time and provide quality rather than just churn out any old thing.
Agreed. Agreed.
I don't even have 1,000,000 views.
oh, it's gonna take a while.
I'm gonna be on
7
Friday.
years.
So I was just
Yes.
thinking like I do 4 live streams over 3 nights. And then I was like, am I doing Friday? And I am. I'm not sure I'm going to read anything because I wrapped up my latest story and I have some other ones, but I kind of want to get organized. And they're very, very short stories. But I touched on some things in my last, and I'm going to ask people about this Friday. I touched some things on the last chapter last Friday night.
Yeah.
That I thought people would be like, oh, like I tied up some loose ends from Voodoo Sleep. And I was wondering if anybody noticed that. I don't think they did. I think it was over their head. Or not over their head, but
I was listening.
beside them.
I was listening pretty closely.
Are
Was it with Jerry?
No.
Okay, then I missed it because Jerry's. I hear
Would
Jerry.
it be I saved his life once? That line?
That's
That
one
the
of
topic
them.
of that conversation? Okay.
I thought that was a satisfying way to end it for me.
Yeah. If
Because remember, she found him in his yard and took him to the hospital.
Yeah.
She probably didn't save his life, but that's a funny way to remember it, you know. But there was something in the epilogue that I thought people would be like, "Oh shit!" And
gang,
I think it was
if
too
I
subtle.
take you to the hospital, if I find you in the yard and I take you to the hospital, I am telling all my cats and all my dogs that I saved your life. That's just how it is. I'm sorry. That's the price you got to pay, is me taking too much credit for the doctor's work.
Did you take? Have you ever had a moment where you had to rescue somebody or save somebody's life?
I had a moment where I sure tried.
Really?
Wasn't even close.
But you got to
I had
try.
say. Yeah. Yeah.
Hmm.
I've never had that moment. I'm the kind of guy where one time I was on a commercial flight and the person sitting next to the emergency exit clearly didn't want to do it. And I said,
Oh.
you can tell them if you don't want to do it. And she goes, no, I don't want to move. And I was like, okay, look, I'll take over. If there's an emergency, I'll handle it. She was like, oh, okay, thank you. So I'm like always that guy who's like, I'm ready.
Yeah.
And I preface that
Thank
with,
you.
but I preface that with, in certain situations, maybe you're in shock and you don't react. So you never know what's going to happen in the moment. But generally, I think I'm ready. I think I'm ready to take a bullet if I have to. I'd be glad to do it.
I don't know about you, Sandy, but there's a wide gap between what I am willing to do and what I am able to do. I would absolutely be willing to take a whack at that door, and all of us would die. As I was like, now is it a push or do you turn? Because I'm looking and I don't.
Well,
As
these
we're
days
choking
they
to
just pop open by themselves when you're in midair.
That's true.
I think it would be fun. Look, I at one time, right after 9/11, I was flying. And of course, you're thinking about it, right? And I just kind of goofed off in my head in a way that chilled me out. But I had this fantasy where the way I convinced myself to just get over it and get on the plane and go back to flying was that if there was some sort of terrorist attack, I could thwart the terrorists, because then surely you'd be on the news. And this is where I'm like, this is what makes it all worth it for me. Somebody says, so Mr. Strackbein, what were you thinking in the moment? How did you have that bravery and courage? And I would go, I'm an American. What do you mean? This is what we do. And then just walk away.
And then write a
I like
comic
that.
about it. Then
And
write a comic.
They'd be like, badass.
Yeah, well,
Yeah, back to you,
first-
Chuck.
Yeah, all right. In my
Wait.
head, everyone there is played by Mac from Always Sunny. And second, Sandy, I like that he's like winning one for the team. Like, I think it's cool to take a badass moment if you're like taking it for the whole group, you know? Like, where's Marianne? If she was like, I'm Australian,
Yeah, she
Yeah.
is
like
nice.
that's just the whole
Right,
explanation. I'd be like,
Marianne.
Yeah. Yeah, you just that's your chance to be like, no, this is what Australians do.
ah.
Yeah.
And then all your fellow countrymen would be like, that's right. This is what we do.
Yeah, unfortunately, right now, everybody in the world looks at Americans and say, we know what they do. They fund wars. unfortunately. And that's another thing we need to address desperately, which we don't have to get into tonight, but it is something we have to address. And it is, and disarming and getting rid of nuclear weapons, not building them up, making treaties with the world. I mean, we really, humanity is going where we are the plane crash. Sorry, I told you I am controversial, and I can be very dark, but I see a big picture, and I hope we can pull ourselves out of the stall.
I mean, the Earth will be fine once we're gone, so it's not that big of a loss.
I know that's what everybody says. Well, so the Earth is just shaking us off like a bunch of fleas.
I mean, fucking go for it.
But I like people. Love you guys. I
will
love
enjoy it
all our
while it
people.
lasts. That's something people say all the time.
Yeah, you've been on the Doomer Twitter. You've seen all the Doomer shit on the Twitter. I know you have. You sneak in there. All the dark.
A question I would like to have answered is,
yes, sir.
If we can estimate how big the meteor was that killed the dinosaurs, and we were to see one coming at us, would we be able to do anything about it?
No.
Besides looking up?
That's
I think
my
that
genuine...
answered a lot of questions. Yeah.
I mean, yeah, like, I feel like as soon as we realized, there was set aside the stuff we know is currently happening and just look at, like, the history books. There was an extinction level event.
Yep.
We know it happened. We see that. What is the point of all of this, if not to defy the next one? I think if we're looking towards, like, humanity goals that we can all get behind, how about we get our dukes up against another big rock? If we can't handle a big rock, what are we doing? I think that's the next thing we should all rally behind. We got to be better than the dinosaurs. Come on.
I hope we're being observed, and this is somebody else's experiment, and our demise doesn't matter. It's like they all focused a lot on special kind of sneakers and argued about whether they should eat each other, meaning other Earthlings.
Yeah, right.
You know what I mean?
Beings.
It's just like,
yeah.
I don't know.
When they discovered...
Well, I'll tell you what, Jake.
Mm-hmm.
I think I will tell you what I think the extinction event is, and that is Project 2025 is an extinction event, or I can be very controversial and say evangelical Christianity, white nationalism is an extinction event for sure.
But I think that's the nonsense that crops up in the minds of a species that has no claws, that has no fucking tail to do tail stuff with. All we have is our paranoid minds and the ability to make stuff. But we conquered everything. We killed the Neanderthals. They're gone. We killed the Denisovans. They're gone. Bears, a little toddler can gun one down like that. We won. And after winning, we have nothing to do because we haven't had the creativity to deal with problems that may be coming. Or rather, we haven't had the focus.
Right. No. Because I was going to say, isn't it ironic that literally everything we do is creativity? Even the bad stuff. It's all creating. And I think that if people had at some point realized creating, like, imagine that we were a global society that embraced art in a way that would never allow for destruction and war, right? And let's say that there was like that one artist who did that war thing as an art project. Wasn't that unique? Glad we don't do that on a global scale. Like, wouldn't that be, just imagine how different things would be in that world. Inevitably, there'd be other downsides and there'd be other negative things that would happen. Who knows, right? But I think that at the end of it all, we were here to create. For better or worse, don't know what the results are, but I think the meaning of life is to continue to create. Create life, create art, create conversation, create. That is the meaning of life, to keep making shit up and to keep making shit and the meaning you put behind it, that's secondary to just doing it.
But is that
of
another
course,
word for growth?
no, because
Okay, good.
I'm still listening. I've got to dip out with my camera for a moment.
I prefer to. I don't think there's like growth, and then there's nurturing, and then there's evolution, and you know what I mean. That's
like
broad, but
nurturing.
I think that at the end of the day, you can
Creating.
chalk everything up to creating. But
And we are creating. All of us are creating something.
some things we created dominated everything else, like money. Like whoever created money fucked it all. It's
Yeah, right.
You shouldn't be
God.
taking any of these one things that serious, because right now we're all like, we need healthcare. We need healthcare. Yeah, we need it because there's all these reasons that we need it,
Right.
that somebody created.
Sure, like
And if
Coke
they
and
hadn't-
Pepsi.
Well, but if they hadn't created all these negative things in the world, then we wouldn't be in such dire need for healthcare, and you would probably just have. I'm oversimplifying again. This is what
Right.
I do, but at the
I
core,
like it.
at the core of the meaning of life is creation. I think that's, and that's not me. I'm not a creationist. I'm not one of these people
Right.
that's like, I'm not on the pro-life
got it,
side and
man.
all that stuff. But I do think that that's why we're here.
You should have a historian on your show to flesh this out. When
Yeah,
did
I
we
mean-
go wrong? Was it when we stood up?
I think
mean,
that's what I'm saying
you
is
know.
that we decided not to go right. And we let it go wrong. Like, because
Humanity.
everything that's normalized and acceptable in our society is usually really detrimental. And it's like we just
Yeah.
refuse to. It's like, where did we go wrong? We just never allowed ourselves to go right. Like, people don't do things and then say, wait a minute, maybe we should. And they go, no, we definitely fucking should because we're banking. I hate
Yeah.
it. I hate that. It's just like when
yeah.
YouTube says, hey, look at how this other channel got 1 million subscribers. You should do what they did. And I'm like, but they're already
No.
doing that. Why would I do that? That's so
Right.
weird.
I do what nobody else does. I do what I want, and I don't care. If my thumbnails are different every time, fine. I mean, I love that thumbnail thing. They tell you, oh, this is how you can be successful with your thumbnails. Oh, fuck you. I'll do whatever thumbnail I want because it's creative. And if I don't get people that like it, I don't give a shit either. Sorry. I'm very verbal.
No, I like
I
that
don't know.
attitude, Sandy. I think that's the right attitude. Do your thing. And
I do.
if you can refine it, like if you find that it's lacking, if you find you're unsatisfied, say with your thumbnails, or they're not doing what you want them to do, then change them. But like
right.
when
And I've done it 100 times.
when I see your thumbnails, I don't even need to read the channel name. I know exactly what it is at a glance.
Yeah, because
and I
it's
think that's
usually
the purpose.
It's usually something frightening as hell.
No, it's the
Sorry.
branding.
It's just a
That's what
style.
it is.
It's a
Yeah,
unique
my
style
style.
to you.
Oh, thank you. Well,
Matt-
it took a long
oh, sorry.
time to do it, to become, flesh this out and do all this. Benny Loco, she is her thumbnail. Welcome, Benny.
Yeah. Matt, I gotta say, I appreciate your perspective. I have a different one when you're talking about meaning, and mine is from a sci-fi horror perspective. I think we are on this planet, as far as we know, the only matter which has become aware of itself, a miracle of randomness in the universe. And it's like bacteria born on a bullet that is being fired into the side of a mountain. There is a timeline. We can see the timeline. And since we are the only matter which is conscious and aware of what's going on and has the ability to manipulate other matter, we ought to do something about the trajectory that we're on. I think
If we can.
I think we had about 8 years in the 60s where we were on as a species, we were on the right track. We were like, all right, next up, obviously, go to the moon. Then after that, Mars. Then after that, like we were starting to think correctly about this stuff. But unfortunately, we got distracted by, I'm sorry, y'all, right-wing nonsense. We kept wanting to do the old adventures. Hey, let's have another war. Hey, let's try to make a billionaire. You know, nonsense that we just didn't need and was frankly uncreative. I think we should get behind things again as a species. Once upon a time, everybody was excited to see what the new world was like. Except for the people in the new world who were horrified to find out what the old world was like.
And
but
we destroyed the new world. And we were colonialists and imperialists all over all the Europe. And
we did it wrong, but we could have done it right. And when we went to the moon, we did it right, I think. We said this is a scientific endeavor, yada, yada. But we should get, I think as a species, we should get ambitious again. And we need to tap into our creativity to do that.
Well, first read the book Overshoot by William Catton. It's the Bible.
Nobody's got time. Is it on audio? I'm just kidding.
Michael Dowd, you have to. Michael Dowd did it. You can do it. You can read it in audio. It's like our book. It will explain so much to you to understand why species do this. Overshoot themselves. They overshoot in a petri dish. Every living sentient species overshoots.
Define overshoot for me. What does that mean?
It means expands their on the planet using too many resources that we don't have. There's finite. You can't infinitely grow on a finite planet. That's the term. So the book is amazing. And you can hear it in audio, and it's something that it'll change your life because you'll understand so much more. And it's a whole lot better than the Bible. And it was written by William Catton, and sorry, Matt, I have a video interview on there on my page that Frank Rotering did, and I edited it. It's great. William Catton is no longer with us, but it is probably one of the most important books that anyone out there will read.
I, on the other hand, enjoy the occasional reading of the Bible, believe it or not. Even though I'm not a believer in the in the lore of it all, I find it interesting to see what motivates millions and millions of other people. I gotta say, I want to I want to have a stream coming up here where I have some sincere Christians, some true believers on. And I want to talk about being, and Sandy, you may enjoy this, good shepherds of the earth. That's
Brock.
Clearly laid out.
Jared Brock, another phenomenal writer, but he is a Christian, but nothing like what's happening today. Jared Brock, fantastic. Do some reading on his stuff. He's got, I think he's writing Substack.
There's some overlap between environmental politics and Christianity, at least one interpretation of it. And I think personally that it's laid out pretty clearly that if the Bible is true, if you believe what is in it, then there is pretty clear instructions in it to take care of this little place God built, theoretically.
We should bring
I'm
Antonio
curious
back.
to know why that's not a strong push in evangelical politics.
I don't know, but Antonio's studying it now. He is studying the Bible, and he is studying the things that have happened. So
I gotta recommend
really
the Book of
like that
Genesis
guy,
to him by R. Crumb. The
We'll
graphic
talk
novels.
about
It's
that.
amazing.
Yeah.
That book
Yeah.
is so good. Yeah, he's great.
I know what you're talking about, but
Antonio's great.
with first pass I heard if you like the Bible, you're gonna love the Book of Genesis.
Read the beginning.
R. Crumb, yeah.
I would love. Can we
Talk
have
about
Antonio on again for another
Yeah.
conversation? That was so much fun last time.
I would love it because he is now really understanding the biblical things, and not in a way, where he's preaching it. He's just trying to understand the people that wrote it and their motivations. And, it's pretty cool. It's pretty cool.
From what I've heard, Jesus was a cool dude. I think people have misinterpreted it. Okay, so
Of course.
let me ask you this. Oh, first of all, we've been going for over an hour. Just letting you know. Now, do we all agree? Do we all agree that we have been to the moon?
Yes. of
Yes.
course.
Me too. Some people They get to a certain point in life where they're like, hey, you know what? That is bullshit. How come we haven't been back?
It wasn't.
How come we haven't been back?
Didn't Jake just say why?
No, but I mean, this is what the
Yeah.
non-believers say. Like, how
been
come we
back
haven't
12
been
times.
back? How did we get there in the first place? Why?
Well,
Maybe
we did
15.
go back.
Yes.
And we went and we did.
Many
There were a
times.
lot of things. So it's
Yeah, I know.
a fake argument.
I agree. I'm just saying, like, how do you feel about, like, what do you know, how do you
How do
feel
we
about that?
educate
Why do you
people?
think people are so quick to be like, we haven't been in the moon? Come on, you believe that? That's all garbage.
I
Social
like that
media.
there's conspiracy theorists out there, but I dislike, because I do think it's good to challenge assumptions. However, I dislike the fact that it has become popular amongst conspiracy theorists to willfully ignore facts. So I would love to also talk to a conspiracy theorist. I want to make this clear that is very separate from my desire to talk to Christians. I just
Oh,
want to talk to
absolutely.
sincere believers about
This-
Christianity. But on a separate, for different reasons, I want to talk to conspiracy theorists who
So
I
you're
don't
looking for a
believe
QAnoner.
are
Well-
sincere believers. I think they are unsincere believers.
As close as I'm going to get to that, because I do not want to platform nonsense, right?
Right.
That's why I had Pam Hemphill on.
Yeah.
Of
I
that
liked it.
world,
Mm.
very recently, suffer consequences for actions, that kind of stuff. Very interesting to talk to somebody like that. Wish I had been able to go on for hours talking to them.
She is wonderful. I wish I just listening to that interview gave me like a warm feeling that I missed. It was wonderful. I see how she came to be there, and it made me less angry. It was understandable how she got there. And tell me if I'm mischaracterizing this from your perspective, but it seemed to me that essentially what she was saying was, I didn't follow this stuff terribly closely, but I had heard about it and I was slightly informed, and the things that I was hearing made it seem like it was a good idea to be there.
Yeah, I think that Pam was one of the folks who was like, because most people were feeling at the time, I got to get involved. And we all took the path that was most accessible at the moment. And that path was started out in the wrong environment and led to a worse environment. But it was all a need to be involved and do something, support a change of some sort. And that version of change was the most manipulative and wrong-natured. What's the word for that?
Wrong-headed?
Bullshit, I guess.
Misinformed, I think.
Yeah, misinformed. There you go.
For
So
those that don't
that's-
know,
Hubris.
Pam Hemphill was I think it'd be safe to say she was a photographer, but she was a MAGA supporter who went to the January 6th riots, got arrested for it,
Yeah.
served time in jail for it, and has
federal prison.
Yeah,
She
Excuse
fell down
me,
that
yeah.
rabbit hole for sure.
and after after getting out, she's been pretty clear on the fact that they were lied to, because they were lied to.
Hmm.
And that it's a cult. And
Yeah.
and it's only a cult when you have a willing leader. That's how I look at cults. There are no cults without somebody being like leading the charge. Right? It could be
I
more than
know
one
it's-
person, but
Flawed, but I do like the BITE model: behavior control, information control, etc., etc. It's thought control, and I forget what the E is, but the point being to limit the ability for anybody else to weigh in on what you're doing,
Mm.
which is how you wind up with the very, very wacky seeming
Yeah.
beliefs, because you've been in isolation.
it's funny we're talking about religion because this could go way off topic now. But I had a moment this last week where I said I was in a discussion with 23, 24 people. And I said, the only way I can explain what I'm feeling right now is like I just introduced you all to my religion. You had never heard about it before. And you all agree that this is the right belief to have. And they were like, that's a good way to describe what just happened. Isn't
Whoa.
that neat?
Yeah.
And what happened was, do you know Hayao Miyazaki, the animator?
Yes.
From you.
So
I think you've mentioned.
I was in, Matthew Film Guy from the Majority Report. He has a film discussion group online, and I'm in that. And we, Sam Cedar's sister is in that. It's cool. It's a cool group, and anybody can join, by the way. And so, he every week he says, here's the movie we're going to watch. Here's a little write-up about the movie. Watch it, and then we'll talk about it. And it's always movies that you wouldn't otherwise seek out. And so for this group, he gave us My Neighbor Totoro. And this is a movie that no one in this class, well, just about no one in this class would watch. It's animation. It's an anime. It's Japanese subtitled. You know what I mean? It's from 1988. They would not seek this out on their own, but now they're watching it for the class. And so I'm practically a disciple of Miyazaki, right? Like I've seen that movie in the theater, right? I've seen it. It's 36 years old. I've seen it 30 times easily.
Wow.
So anyway, like I got to sit there and listen to like 10, 12 people talk about how wonderful this movie was and how they never would have seen it. And they're so glad they saw it. And they're going on and on about this is what it made me think of. This is what it made me want to know. I need to see more of this. I need to absorb more of this. I want to watch this again. I need this part answered for me. Who can answer this? And of course I had all the answers. And then by the time, you're in a queue, it's like a Zoom. So you raise your hand. And I kept lowering my hand when somebody was behind me to let them get in front of me. Cause I just wanted to sit there and listen. Because I was like, there's no way I'm going to be able to listen. I'm a huge nerd. There's no way I'm going to be able to sit here and listen to 20-some people talk about something that I've loved for over 30 years, right? So I have to like let these people go ahead because this is better than watching the movie at this point for me. And so then when I went, I said, the only way I can describe what I'm feeling now is if I just introduce you guys to my religion and you immediately came on board. Like that, there's no more gratifying feeling. Well, but there's just nothing more because, I don't have to do any convincing. You heard it, you saw it, you get it, you want more. And it's like, well, how else? I mean, it's not like you're going to like all anime, but I bet you're going to like most of what Miyazaki makes. Anyway,
so cool.
Off topic.
I've learned a lot from you that I've not been exposed to. You bring us something fresh and different. I've never been exposed to comic book writers. I love listening to your novellas. I mean, it's different. I've been, in the doomosphere.
That's what my father-in-law says. When you ask him, he's like eating something. You go, "Do you like it?" He goes, "Tell you what, it's different." I'm like, that's bad though, right? What are you saying?
So where's your dad jokes tonight?
That does mean it's bad. Yeah.
If you're asking for dad jokes, what's wrong with you?
I'm asking for dad joke. What the hell? I'm opening. Well,
Pandora's bin.
No, but I'm not reading any of them.
What do you call the wife of a hippie?
I don't know what.
We're gonna find out.
Mississippi.
Okay, because it's getting towards late for me. I'm getting a little punchy here. I can't even find the one I was going to read, and I can't even remember it.
Do you know why seagulls fly over the sea?
I don't know why.
Well, because if they flew over the bay, they'd be bagels.
Flying bagels.
I
I love it. I lost the one I had in my book, but this is so old. Half the people that are, I can't remember it. I don't remember things.
If you're cold, do you know why you should go stand in the corner of the room?
I don't know why.
Because it's 90 degrees.
Oh.
I don't know if that joke works in
That one
Celsius. Does it?
It must. It must. It'd be super.
Somewhere
that
Andrea
that
is
was
either
last-
upset or not. Yeah.
Yeah, that's right. That was last week. I thought about that every day, the whole thing. Oh my god!
Sandy,
But you
you
get-
gotta give me at least one joke. Come on.
You get
I can't
Mississippi,
find the
right?
one I
Because like that's Mississippi
Yes,
River,
Missis-
and also it sounds like Mrs. Hippie. You get that, right? You see how that?
Well, it
I
works
love
in
explaining
one
the
way,
jokes.
but it doesn't. There's no relation to the state leading up to it before the punchline.
That's why it's a dad joke, which rhymes with bad joke. I had a
Bring
whole
it
episode
cocky.
of these. I had James Williams, the DJ from Like It or Not. He came on the show for a
Yeah.
call in, and we just did dad jokes all
jokes.
night. And Sandy Lovis called in, and every time I said a dad joke, she wouldn't laugh. So I go, well, I just want to make sure you get the joke. And I would like explain it. She goes, no, I
Right.
get it. And I was like, oh, okay, because you weren't laughing. So I just wasn't sure if you didn't
Oh, I
get it.
enjoy
All right,
that.
I got mine. Of course, I got to read it because I have no memory retention anymore. 2 goats were into the garbage in Hollywood. One goat ate a reel of film. The other asked, "How was it?" The first goat burped and then replied, "Not bad, but the book was better." Ba-doom boom.
Jeez.
Pretty bad.
That's
Well, what do you want from this? It's from 1988. It's Canadian. I love Canadians, but
And
this
it's
whole,
Canadian.
You know,
That
the
explains
whole,
it.
Fucker.
Well, they have all the jokes are about the Leafs, and it's so dated. I have the whole
Hockey
series.
jokes.
It's
very
so dated.
Canada specific, sure.
Very Canada
Sure.
specific,
Uh,
very dated.
Did you hear about the 2 antennas that got married?
I didn't.
The reception was fantastic.
Guys, can you tell we're getting towards the end of the night? I enjoy this. I'm glad everybody came. All of you that are watching on all 4 channels. This is so cool. And we had some
Maybe-
really good topics tonight. And I gave you homework. And I'm sending you the links.
All right, no, this is too far out there. Nah, all right, we'll try this another time because I want to make sure that the joke is appropriate enough. But
you want to?
there is a joke I have been aware of, and I read it in a book of jokes, so I'm aware that it is a joke and not an anecdote that I misinterpreted,
Okay.
and I don't get it.
All right, tell it to me offline.
All right, let's do it.
I'll help you through it.
All right.
Yeah. Do you guys want to wrap up? I've enjoyed this too, but
Me
you
too.
know,
But we
too
have
much
to
of a
say
good
thank
thing.
you to people that did
Okay.
super chats too.
Yeah,
we
yeah,
have
yeah.
to do that.
An actual cloud, $4.99. No way is Haley backing Biden. Changing party is extremely rare due to personal relationships. People close to her that helped her get to where she is. So not just the Koch brothers, but everyone who believed in her would suddenly be
supported
like
her.
Democrat.
Yeah.
That is the
Uh,
worst thing.
she-
man.
You're a demon rat. Oh my god. Yeah.
She does not have true believers around her. They'll be like,
Thank
oh,
you,
there's more
Benny.
power here.
Yeah.
And check it,
Thank
I got
you,
a new
Benny
member.
Loco.
I got a
Hey!
couple of
Stephanie.
I got a couple of new members tonight.
Good
I'll
job, man.
thank them
Thank you,
later.
Steph.
Somebody was gifting memberships in my chat.
How sweet. There's
Yeah,
a
and I
lot of
gotta-
generous, wonderful people.
I got a lot of super chats tonight. Ronald Raygun, another legendary Majority Report caller, was watching the show and kept asking John funny questions. It was really good. He said, this is a good question. He said, who would be on Trump's cuck Rushmore, Mount Rushmore? So
I
like,
had Cruz, Graham, who else?
Oh, Graham.
DeSantis. Yeah, Lindsey Graham for sure. He just can't quit him. And then he did that cosplay of him once. Do you remember that, you guys?
no.
He dressed
Wow.
up like Trump and then tried to. It was so weird. So Cruz, Graham, DeSantis, Green. Who was my 5th? I don't remember.
Marjorie Taylor Greene. But was she opposed to him at one time? Because it's like a cuck where they.
Yeah. I think there has to be some friction. I think there has to have been a weak attempt to defy him, followed by a quick, pathetic retreat. Because otherwise,
Oh.
it's just coattail riding.
I know what you're talking about with the Lindsey Graham cosplaying. It wasn't like he was
Right.
doing it for fun. It was
Yeah.
a serious.
It was a
Yeah, it was
TV
like,
interview.
oh, he's trying it. The aesthetic.
Oh God. Lindsey
All right,
Graham.
I got a dad joke here. All right, ding dong.
Who's there?
Oh, is
Oh,
that how you?
that's-
Is, oh,
Oh,
it's a ding dong
he
joke.
did it.
That's a good
He
one.
Did it. That's how
Well,
he goes.
I was like, do you not know what knock knock jokes are?
Yeah, that's not. He does that. That's how he goes. Well, you know what? Then we're going to wrap it up. I've been sitting in this office today for a lot of hours. I created things today. I created.
Yeah.
Yeah, I did.
No, you did good. I'm sure you
And
did
I want to
good.
say thank you to everybody again. I love you guys. And as I said, I will never lose work again in a power outage because of all of you. Thank you.
I lost power too. We got it back, but
Do you have a UPS, a universal?
it's never going to be that bad here. It was like 50 outside. We're fine.
Oh, it happens here 4 or 5 times a year. I mean, it does for hours. And I don't know why it happens. Yeah, it does. It's happened many times.
You're good
It's
now.
okay. Yeah,
You
I
are
know.
good
I'm
now.
excited. I'm so excited. But anyway, thank you, everybody. So glad he got a gasp from me. Jake is watching. No, I want to say thanks. And I'm on at 9 Friday night, and Matt's on after me. So it's like you get all worked up and upset, crazy over what I bring in, and then you get to chill with Matt and
Yeah.
it's beautiful, calming reading. It's
Yep.
really very, very good, and it's zen. It's zen for me.
Great. I'm glad to hear that.
Yeah.
Well, it was fun hanging out. Have a great rest of your week, and I'll see you soon enough. Good night, everyone.
Good night, everyone.